Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to some more Let's Play Disco Elysium. In the last episode, we said our final farewells to the people we met on our way back over here to the fishing village. There's one last location for us to investigate in regards to the murder of the mercenary and the hanging of him as a cover-up, which led to a small war almost breaking out here in Martinez. Before we go any further, I should also point out that this is a re-record of this part, because I didn't realize it at the time, but I had forgotten that the new webcam I picked up, I plugged it in, and it has a microphone attached to it. I have to wrestle with the configuration a bit to disable it, because I don't need two microphones running. Fraps was recording both, and it made for a pretty poor audio quality on this video originally. You should know that I actually finished the game, but that webcam was plugged in for both this and the next part. So, as such, I'm going to be re-recording both parts. If you've already seen this part with the terrible audio, then there'll be nothing new we're going to be doing in this part. And also, again, now I feel really awkward because I have seen the rest of the game, everything that there is to see. But maybe we'll succeed at a few of the roles I failed at last time. Let's go ahead and get over to that island and stop wasting time, shall we? Oh, right, we don't need to actually speak with her. We need to get out on that island, like go over here and click on the boat. Alright everyone, let's head out there and see what we will see. A skiff with a small steering engine in the back floats on the calm mirror of the sea. Its two seats are empty. Inland Empire. Once you get in, that's it. One pull the starter handle, and you're off into the bay. A strange trepidation comes over you. Are you sure you want to go now? Logic. Remember what the net picker said. It's a small tank. You won't be going back and forth on this. Get in and ride to the island.
Want to be free. Want to be free. It will last forever. Eternally. Want to be free. trees are green and overhanging, never
The boat comes to a slow stop. Kim turns the engine off, then there's silence. Perception. In the silence, a sputter of wings. A flock of quails takes off in the distance. Shivers. There is very little wind here today. The ghost is standing still. You look at your arms, and then the cliffs above you. Let's go. A makeshift bridge. The bombs were powerful enough to break the foundation. I wondered if this was poured, this foundation here. I don't think this was a natural rock, so this island must be an artificial one. I suppose the built explicitly for the structure out here to form some sort of barricade leading to the main bay of Revachol. The rusted chains trails off into the ocean, connecting the island to the supply depot on the coast. This leads to the depot in Land's End, Kim. Lieutenant looks at the mechanism overhead. Ah, yes, so it seems. What do you think it was used for? For bringing munitions to the island, maybe, and supplies. You could also lock the bay when you raise the chain. Visual calculus, as a defensive measure, locking off that side of the bay. Lock it from whom? From enemies. He looks up ahead. Enemies of the commune of Revachol. This sea fort was a revolutionary fortification, I believe. And we leveled, everyone, when we landed here. Awesome. 1 point to place. We will hold on to that for when we need it. Even though I've done this part, this is now the third time I'm recording this about hour and 15 minutes. I will still not do anything in advance. I think it's probably best for you people who have not watched this part yet. These tires are falling apart. They're at least 50 years old. Why is this? Oh, this is because we've done some more stuff. We made it to the island. We're on the island. So I recorded this part once before, and then the last time I re-uploaded it was because of a very, how should I say, oops. 1 second. The stairs feel ancient. Soldiers' feet ran up them long ago. It was because of a, it turns out, optional dream sequence I did not have to do, which made me rather disappointed with the writing in the game and the director's creative license on what my character would do. I was so pissed off I lost my temper and cursed and swore I needed to take a break at what I was reading to come back and regain my composure. I didn't pass my composure check playing the game, and so I decided to re-record the entire part because of how upset I was with what happened. I'll explain it more in detail at the end of the next video when I give a review on Disco Elysium. Attention, inflammable. There's a lingering trace of mazut in the air. Some fuel has leaked out of the barrel. Black, viscous. I like the music out here. That song that I've heard now 3 times arriving to this island. I can't make out the words very well to it. The music and the voice seems to conflict with each other. Warm air from the inside of the building. It's much colder out here. I think it ended with Disco Inferno, I think is what they were singing, something of that sort. This barrel says ICM. You see a star with little specks in it. ICM? This feels familiar somehow. Kim, what is the ICM? Insulidian Citizens Militia. It's the official name of the Communards Army, the black and white army of the Revolution. Encyclopedia. Sounds an awful lot like RCM. It sounds like RCM, Revachol Citizens Militia. It does. Why? The RCM may descend from the ICM. It may? It's impossible to say. He looks towards the darkened doorway. It was chaos after the war. The name was good for getting people to join us. Revachol West was mostly workers and criminals. A white star? No. An upside-down star. Technically, that's not no. That's in addition to. It's still a white star. With its horns in the sky, the symbol of the commune. Are those speck stars too? No, that's the uninhabited archipelago. A DeLorean-era symbol of the Insulende, known as the face in the sea. Insulende. It's too late now. If I've been mispronouncing that word, I've been doing it the entire game. Looks old. What's it still doing here? After 40 years? That's not nearly enough to hide what happened here, Lieutenant Yefreitor. One of the barrels was still leaking fuel, as you saw. The city is full of things like this. Old bullets, guns, fuel. Not yet long enough to put this into the history books, I suppose. Still recent history. The little birch from the coin-operated viewer. Still holding on. No way to get up there. The stairs are gone. Oh. We were told that there's someone living out here, and we know a sniper shot came from this. Well, we don't know it, but we heavily suspect this is where the murderer fired his weapon from. Just in case it helps us a second time, we will wear our fair-weather T500 cuirass. This was once an armament rest, where they probably loaded shells to be fired from their flak cannon. Twin cannons were attached here. Medium distance, large caliber. I thought that was weird. I thought this was a flak cannon type of anti-aircraft weapon, not something that shoots large caliber rounds. But then again, I know nothing about flak, other than what it's used for, right? I believe flak is used, you fire it, it puts out this flak field, aircraft that fly through it get shredded. It's probably much easier to do that than to land a direct hit with a gun on a moving aircraft. Careful, these stairs have collapsed. An old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side and across the floor. The cables disappear into the wall to your right. Lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth. It's cold now, he concludes, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired. What kind of generator is this? Liquid carbon, I would imagine. It takes mazut. He points to the open fuel cap on the side of the dynamo. The kind that's favored by vagrants and fuel thieves. It's been a long winter, long and cold. Rhetoric. If anyone stayed here, they need a generator. Tap on the side. The canister is empty. Dust falls from the generator and down into the ammo lift. Where do the wires lead? He looks at the wall socket. Downstairs somewhere. Books. Mostly fantastique and historical fiction. Dishes stained with sauce and fire. A survivor's kitchen. There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of soft-cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a worn-out caracol blanket. Someone has been squatting here. Lieutenant inspects the bed. The linen is fresh. Recently washed. How recently? You force the rest of the sentence out through pain. Thick as molasses. No longer able to hear yourself speak. You know, officer, he looks at you with a touch of concern. You can rest here if you're feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead. No time to rest now. Yes, anytime if you need a rest later, it's okay by me. Spit the corpse. You don't have to be a hero. If you decide to sleep in the bed, you will... So let's just tell you... I'll tell you what kind of happens. You will have another dream sequence. This was the one alluded to in the second night of dreams, that it will be the one with the girl. I really hated this dream sequence, and everything I tried to do to end it early failed. All the advice that my thoughts gave me failed as well. There was no roles to do. It's just volition tried to help, and although I passed the passive check, it refused to do so. I was forced to go through and basically talk to my ex something, and miss her, and remember her, which are not things that I want my character to do at all. And it removed a lot of agency from the way I'm playing Harry here. I'm playing him like Sam Burke from Spawn. I'm trying to, a little bit. And so I absolutely loathed that dream sequence. Thankfully, it is optional, and I will not be sleeping in this bed. You also only get an hour's worth of rest. You do complete a quest, so you get some experience points, I believe, for it. If you are playing a sad, miserable cop who wants nothing more than to get back together with the girl that he loved, rest in that bed. But if you don't, skip it. I hated it. Absolutely loathed it. And the fact that all the options I had, all the traits I had here to make me stronger, none of it mattered whatsoever during the conversation. So freaking dumb. All right. Don't want to lose my patience again. Let's move on. You see candles planted on a broken rangefinder. This would be used to help them figure out how far away the enemies were, I suppose, so they could use the cannon more appropriately. Maybe this was both an anti-air. Maybe they had an anti-air cannon placed here, and this also fired some sort of other large caliber rounds, some sort of artillery placement here. A moth-bitten bed sheet keeps the winds out. Books and magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They're not particularly well organized. Most are softcovers, serialized fantastique, and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This desperate digest includes the classic Animal Adventures. Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodactique for electrical engineering. God, I mispronounced that entirely. Then it's back to pulp, light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders. Someone's made themselves a home. It inspects a softcover. So one more time, I guess I get another option to try to pass this check. This will be the first time I succeed at it, if I do. Not that you can tell. This is a digest of someone who's dead bored. Most of it is for entertainment purposes, fitting right next to the radiola on the floor. Nothing? Nothing out of the ordinary? Maybe it's a little old-fashioned? There's a nude mag? More than that, you can't say. Visual calculus. The print in some of these is pretty small, though. This person has good eyesight. That would reinforce that he was a good shot with a gun as well. Army surplus scarf. +2 empathy. Plight of the underclass. -1 composure. Sucks to be poor. This towy old scarf itches when wrapped around the neck. It has humanitarian aid written all over it. Yet you know that thousands all over the Isla are suffering from the same fate as you. The fate of uncomfortable army surplus scarves. Fallen Arrower shirt, +1 hand-eye coordination. Sleeveless aim. This fallen training shirt has seen one wash too many. It retains this unusual design, one sleeve short, the other long, but little of its original colors. A giant F swooshes across its chest, now in gray. Some magnesium. $1.15, and more magnesium. This great blast door must weigh over 10 tons. Rust peels off of it. You see a small metal door nestled inside a larger one, a heavy steel blast door. There's a conventional keyhole above the handle. It's very small. How do we open this? Kim looks at the door, then at its bigger brother, then at the lock. Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open? I find us not opening it highly unlikely. Alright. Lieutenant locks on the metal. I retract my statement. It was naive. Let's look around and get it open. By the way, if you've seen me play this part before, you'll note that I'm going to try to choose all of the same conversation topics I did before as well. I feel like not doing that would be cheating in a way. Green paint flakes off the monoblock aluminum cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard. Run your fingers across the keyboard. The keys rattle like teeth. The keyboard hasn't functioned in decades. What is this, then? The console of an antique computation device. Lieutenant points to the wires running into the machine. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out. They terminate here. Could this open the blast door? Possibly. He inspects the dials. Urgence, overt, Aluma, radio diffuse. It sounds like this device was used to control the electronics here. Maybe it still does. Push the light, interior. Nothing happens. An emergency? Nothing happens yet again. We need to restore power before using this, officer. The generator, it didn't look like there was fuel in it. Then he looks into the dim light to his right. We should look around outside. There are barrels all over. Maybe one of them still has something in it. Not in agreement. Alright, let's go. But first we'll check the secret stair. For 20 cents and more magnesium. You'll note, everyone, that we don't really take much in the way of morale damage, do we? I suspect my choosing volition so heavily not only gives us so much points in it, in morale, but we also automatically pass all the passive checks that we might have been forced to take. This hatch is jammed shut. Water rushes below. Far down below. So, on my first time out here, the part that no one will ever see, I suppose, I had mused to myself if the detective aspect of this game, if it would be like Sherlock Holmes, or some of Sherlock Holmes' stories, some you still can't piece together, but if it would be like Sherlock Holmes, in which you can deduct who did it by the evidence and information you were given, or if it's Scooby-Doo, if there's no possible way for you to have guessed who's done it. I greatly dislike the latter and prefer the former. We'll talk about it at the end of the video series, though, a bit. A firing slit. You can't see inside. Probably to help repel attackers if they landed on the actual island, trying to break into the fortification. It must have been a direct hit to take out such a huge chunk. Remember that they used artillery fire here. Nothing out here on the ice. Another chain that could have blocked both entrances to the bay. The winch is broken. Russ has eaten at what remains of the chain. Did they really need that chain the bay, though? It's like the bay is just like 30 yards away? That would be, I don't know what that is in kilometers. I'm so sorry, all you non-Americans. But it's not very far. Like, what is that, like 18, 20 meters or so? It doesn't look like the land's that far away. They could just ignore this altogether. The depot that supplied this chain is long gone from the coast. Inland Empire. A strange feeling looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea, leave it all and walk in. Electrochemistry, with a bottle in your hand. A bottle in my hand? Always. No. We've come too far. We have what I hope is what we have done. I hope is that we have been given the opportunity. I'm messing this up significantly. We have been given the opportunity to start again. We have gracefully forgotten whatever it was that was plaguing us, and we are a blank slate. Not many people would get that option, that wish granted to them, especially if their life had been poor. Not like they had made a bunch of poor decisions early on, to forget all that and move on without the feeling guilt. And especially for Sam here, where we know there's something bad which has happened between him and his ex. The pain in your pelvis makes you wince. Then you continue. I think all those points in pain threshold are helping us not take any health damage. The inside of the fortress. You make out the console and the blast door. Anyway, yeah, we were given this fantastic chance at starting over, and I'm gonna take it. We're gonna make ourselves a good cop. One who doesn't do drugs any longer. No alcohol, and only 2 smokes. A weathered artillery map showing coordinates in the Bay of Revachol. An old medicine cabinet, newly stocked with Dramamine. 20 more cents for all the money we need now. The fuel canister, Lum fuel canister. There's still some fuel in this battered canister, a liter or 2. The metal looks decades old. The logo of the automotive manufacturer LUM has faded on the side. There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like 2 eyes in the wall. Kim, B triple prime. Lieutenant lowers his voice, stepping closer with his hand on his gun. This looks like a good place to shoot from. Inspect the wall. There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window. Look through the hole in the concrete. The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. Trepidation, a tingling feeling in your stomach. A small piece of the Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water, the ruins look familiar. On the left, a towering skyscraper. Its top floor is shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside Apartments, Rue de St. Ghislaine, 33A and 33B. On the right, the red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the Whirling in Rags, Rue de St. Ghislaine 10, the doomed commercial area. And between the two, the box-shaped silhouette of the Whirling in Rags. You see a small fleck of white on the rooftop, the upstairs window of Claget's room in the rain, reflecting light. Motherfucker. What does that mean? Do you have line of sight to the window? Yes. There's an opening between 33A and 10. I can see the roof. I can see it, he nods. Through the scope of a rifle, the shooter would be prone, lying on the mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure. Hand-eye coordination. Cheek against the cheek rest, hand on the hair trigger. On a calm day like this, Kim, I could make this. I could make it. I could make the shot. Good. He pats you on the back. 3 small pats in a row. I think we have it, detective. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest. Affirmative. Booyah. Master cop work. It's only moderately effective cop work until we have the weapon. It will not be how do you say it, booyah, Until we have that. Could the shooter still be here? Where? He looks behind his back. On this island. He does not answer, just nods with his back hunched. He looks around once more and says, he feels uncomfortable suddenly. We should move. Now. Inspect the mattress first. A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand named Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns. Perception sight, and an empty can of beans on the ground next to it. Filled to the brim with cigarette butts. Pick one out of the can. The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand? Tiumaturi. Someone's been smoking Tiumaturi cigarettes. Kim nods. The smoker's a clean person. I didn't see any signs of smoking inside. Keeps it tidy. Prefers to come out here to smoke. We leveled up again, everyone. Let's go ahead and spend one of these. So, I think I put 1 point into Inland Empire. So let's do that. Did I? I don't remember. I don't remember. Okay, how about this, everyone? I'll be right back. I'm going to check on the other save slot really quick. Okay, I totally did. So let's go ahead and put that point into Inland Empire. It would make sense again. At this point in the game, I only really want to be putting points into things I have already put points into. In a game like this, I feel best. You feel eyes on your back. Someone's watching, but you can't say where. I always feel it best to somewhat specialize, rather than put points into everything. Similar to Underrail in that regard. You don't want to be a jack of all trades, because you will suck at everything. I suppose that's not really the case here. You can get lucky rolls to pass the checks, though I do prefer not having to rely on them. We have made way too many 12s and 12s and 11s during this entire series. We got really lucky. I think we've played our character rather well. Also, we've taken really good advantage of our thoughts that we took to give us all this money that we didn't need at all. We clicked on all sorts of orbs to almost maybe made up for the level we took to give us +1 experience points for those orbs. I'm joking a bit, but it seems like a lot of what we took, I guess we didn't really put to good use in the end, did we? Oh, no. Our hand-eye coordination was raised that let us throw the firebomb correctly. We definitely took advantage of perception, raising that by 4 points, which let us detect the bullet in the mouth of the hanged man. This helped as well, with +2 hand-eye coordination against enemies in FT 500 armor. We might have gained an extra level after taking that. This was useful. I know we rolled 111 to pass a check that we needed a 12 for, but we also, I think, rolled a 3, which made us fail one of the checks that we might have passed. The Moreless dialogue options was helpful, +1, but we didn't really benefit from that. I do love getting the +1 reall. Unfortunately, we didn't really take advantage of it. I probably should have gone and bought all the books and spent all my money, but I wasn't sure when we would or wouldn't need any cash. And this has been nice. Succeed all hand-eye coordination passives, along with hand-eye coordination raised to 6, because I definitely put a few points in it. We have 4 points in that, with only 1 normally in Motorix. Alright, so that's a good review of our character, I suppose. Let's pour fuel into the tank. Lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder, and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch as we pull the rope. The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle. That should do it. A dim golden glow animates the console, faint like a ghost light. Urgence, overt, says one dial key. Illumor reads another. It's on, Kim smiles. Turn emergency open. The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in. Half-light. A sudden wave of anxiety makes your skin crawl. After you, Lieutenant gestures at the opening. Before, outside, Kim, when we were walking across the sand, I felt someone watching me. So did I. Not back there, but I felt it since we came back inside. Let's go. We might want our gun in our hands, since this person's probably armed. Walk slow. It might be dangerous. I walk slow anyway. If the game gives me the options to walk, I will walk. I make a bunch of sound shifting in my chair. I've walked around this entire game with this dossier with me to get right people tickets, and I've only written, I think, one ticket for like $1. A rubber dinghy. It's deflated. Broken. Small white flowers blossom all around us. An old man wearing tracksuit trousers leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Perception, unclouded by cataracts. His eyesight is sharp. Are you the fire guy? The what now? He cups his ear. I can't hear you. I don't really want to let him know that the two kids gave him away, on the off chance he decides to somehow kill us and then go after them as punishment. So we won't tell him who told us that name. Nothing. Fire guy. He shakes his head. Regressive burglary's henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up. Nice gun you've got there. It's not nice, it's a piece of shit. He shrugs. But it gets the job done. Is that the Bella Margrave? It's a Trigong 446. A Sumerian rifle. How did you get a hold of one? It was sent to us by our brothers of the Hsin commune. Military aid. He pats the rifle. Hand-eye coordination. It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing. The Hsin commune? You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk wiped from the board. His gaze turns inward. On with the police. You can keep the gun, but keep it down. Not one move. No. Lieutenant aims his pistol square at the man's head and says, "Put it down now, sir. Or you're going to blow my brains out before you question me." To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets. Like an amputated limb in the sand, the old man lays the rifle down, carelessly, then looks at it lying there. What have you been using this gun for? No reply. His leg twitches. Strangely, like a puppet on a string. There's something off. You feel it. This was the right question. You just pick up the gun lying in the sand. His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. Still warm from his parched hands. Not the metal. The metal is ice cold. This weapon has been modified several times. It's been patched and modified several times. I wonder how old it is. The old man does not answer. He just stares in front of him. You inspect the rifle closer. It's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed on the forearm made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Trigong 4.46 millimeter, made in Hisinyao. Oh, it's as he said, it's a Trigong, made in Hisinyao. No one said it has to be a Bella Margrave. Lieutenant does not take his eyes off the old man. We were just guessing. From ballistics, it could have easily been a Trigong 2. Oh, thank you, visual calculus. It doesn't matter if it was made in Shantith. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition, and it does. You're correct. 4.46. The right type and the right caliber. Lieutenant nods, glancing at the gun. Empathy. He's liking this. We stole the gun. The old man keeps following our motions with his gaze. His left arm twitches suddenly. Rhetoric. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It can be used against him to get a confession in time. Who are you? My name, he looks across the water, then back at you, is Isovaf Lilianovich Dross, political commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I'm a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender. His eyes turn to the reeds again, dead and dull. The Commune of Revachol? Lieutenant forgets to close his mouth. Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the Inzaludian Citizens Militia, the Army of the Revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in 07, trained in the École de Contrôle Aérien, and consigned to emergency defense duties in 08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties. Immediate logic. 51 minus 8, 43. You've been on this island for 43 years. No. He looks into the fire. A wisp of smoke rises from somewhere between the charred logs. I've been on other islands, too. I was on Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was on E48, a nameless sound until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago. Again, you've been hiding here for 43 years. 43 years and 10 months. That's steadfast. It's not how a human being should live, but I had to. I just couldn't forget. I just couldn't forget what I saw. Volition. He just couldn't. You couldn't give up. He nods. Volition. But he can now. What have you been doing during all this time? Hiding, fishing, waiting. He looks across the water. Shivers. Where the afternoon grows late. On Rue de St. Ghislaine, people walk home. Streetlights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers. Men, women, children. Street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Autocumulus clouds form above Precinct 41. Esprit de Corps. 2 police officers step out of the Whirling in Rags cafeteria. Satellite officer Jean Vicamar inspects giant letters across the plaza mosaic in dark red government-marked heavy fuel oil. Patrol officer Judith Minot points west. The fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk. The officers go, leave behind the writing, still smelling of petroleum. One day, it says, I will return to your side. Always waiting. The old man turns his eyes from the shore and back to you. For what? For her to return. Her who? Girl Child Revolution. I come from there. Point to the mainland. I can assure you that is not what the people are planning. I'm not a fool. He blinks his black eyes. I know. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore. However hard I try, whatever I do. How have you concealed yourself all these years? It was hard in the tens. He shakes his head. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night. There were posters, campaigns. We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Coal City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Faubourg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course, those fucking kips had Mazov course running through their veins. And others too. Some cardons of Revachol were still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. He shakes his head. Soon they all went silent. The frequency's dead. How did you get between here and the mainland? At night, I used a dinghy. He nods towards the deflated tire and reads. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. The trolls, you lot, the commons too, they'd started snitching. In the city, you move underground. From bunker to bunker, he nods. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. He falls silent, his gaze fixed on the shacks huddled together across the water. Why don't you? I don't want to. They're all traitors, pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals. Empathy. He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing. I guess he really wanted that revolution. I guess if you've been trained to fight, you are ready to. How can I describe this? It's helped solidify his political beliefs, and he would have loved that revolution to have succeeded. Since he's a revolutionary and now a rebel, he probably views himself as still engaging in this war and still fighting for it, even though it's long passed him by and people have moved on. People's lives have to continue, even despite horrible things that happen to them. Look at what's happened to Harry, for example. I'm trying to put his life back together. The weapons cache under St. Ghislaine 22B, in the basement. Have you been there? He looks at us, then pulls the raincoat tighter on his neck. So, you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Bell Margraves, right? They were damaged beyond use. I know. So you've been there. Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those Margraves were shit even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however. Visual calculus. You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across. There's a small bunker under the Feld building. Have you stayed in there? The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore. Propaganda bunker. They stored leaflets there, broadcasting equipment too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I would bury them with their leaflets. They killed themselves, 2 young boys. Killed themselves? A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there, never liked it, kept thinking of them. He stares at the ruins of the Feld building. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins on the ground. One more question. Do you smoke Lotaeri cigarettes? I do. He coughs. Ever smoked them on the mainland, part to Land's End? They're good, he nods. Plenty of tar. I like the boy in the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century. Tell me another thing. The old man looks across the water at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it. What is this place? This island? It's not an island, droid. He looks around. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol, and I'm its last surviving defender. What was it used for? The congeniality deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in Ode 2, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against the airborne landing, against the whole world. You mean the landing? Retaking of Revachol. Coalition military called it Operation Death Blow. He winces. I later found out on the radio they called it Death Blow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Kalu alone. And I'm sure that they didn't kill anyone during the revolution. Nah, that didn't happen. They're no more innocent, and if they had the chance, they would kill just as many people. Someone who's come to end this madness. He shakes his head and says, Iblis. Iblis? The black-eyed angel. He nods. I mentioned last time that the only familiarity I have with that word comes from the second Quest for Glory game, which Iblis was the name of a powerful genie, an evil genie, who, if he was summoned, broke loose and destroyed the city, and you got a bad game over in that game. I really like the Quest for Glory series. They pulled a good amount of I'm looking for folklore from other nations. So here in America, it was more than just, say, H.P. Lovecraft's stories. They pulled in Baba Yaga from, I think, Russian folklore, and Iblis from, well, wherever it comes from. I don't want to say the Middle East because I'm not quite sure if that's where that type of story or lore comes from, but maybe from there. You said this is your termless surrender. You're with the RCM. He waves your general direction. The coalition-appointed mob that enforces burglese morals in Revachol. I'm probably mispronouncing that name. We enforce the law. We keep these animals from killing each other. He stares at the embers, then into your eyes. You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, the Parti Communiste des Insulinde. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldozed them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity. His hand shakes and he breaks into a coughing fit. Perception, sight. A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. He's not so different, is he, from the member of the Moralist army who attacked this place. They have very strong beliefs, and they believed in fighting for what they believed in. I guess that helps, again, solidify such strong beliefs, especially when the enemy's at your throat or when you're strangling someone to death. That's probably also why, again, I think I'm repeating myself, why they talk the way they do. They have a good amount of conviction in what they believe, are willing to fight and die for it. So you're a communist soldier from the communist army. No, I'm not a soldier. I'm an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army. Oh, you know, I didn't quite understand this the last 2 times I read it. Now I do. So he was not serving in the army. Well, I guess he was in a way. He had a gun and would fight. But his purpose, which we're going to find out, he wasn't hired. But you said you were trained and assigned to the Defense Corps. Trained, he nods, in historical materialism. Then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something. Wait, what does a political commissar do? The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs. Lieutenant speaks softly. His job was to ensure the army answers to civilian control. and follows the ideology of the commune. So in other words, the army is made of people, just like him from the party. But the army might have a different idea of what to do. Because I guess there is no, or was not supposed to be, one singular leader for the communards out here. The people would vote, or speak their minds, and then the army would do what the people wanted. This guy represents the people, or the party in this case, I think. Scientific communism. The tracksuit-clad old man is suddenly reanimated. A commissioner politique is a knight philosopher of the revolution, a future human. Inland Empire. He was like a cleric, a shepherd. Really now? Okay then. Over-mystified that a bit. That means you're a trained communist, right? He nods slowly. Then another tremor. Say nothing. So, our Harry is an ultra-liberal. Real liberal, yeah! We're basically a conservative. Is what we are, or a libertarian. We are not, we're not a moralist. We're not, an enlightened centrist. We're more enlightened centrist than a fascist. And we're not communist at all, with only 2 points. But I can't say I'm an ultra-liberal. Although we have the Kingdom of Conscience, I am not going to say I'm a moralist, because we've only really taken that choice twice. We are totally an ultra-liberal. So, we will say nothing. He looks away to the sea and lets out a cough. You said you deserted your unit. I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too. Lapse of faith. You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat, and thought Mazovian social economics were fallible. For a second I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took. For what? For reaction to take hold. It wasn't reaction. You were just afraid. It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really, not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid. And this was... when? The lieutenant instinctively looks to his notebook, but does not take it out. May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. He looks north. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic. Dark magic. The combined might of international capital. All at once. All the greed and terror in the world. Poured into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower. He gestures towards it. Huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room. He looks east. A terrible shame still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became. You didn't go to the map room. No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland. In the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak, a mouse. Frightened of the ordnance all night and the sound of the rotors in the morning. Whirling. He looks at the sky. What was that? Airships. I climbed out. Into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too. Shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. He opens his eyes and stares right through you. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality. Seen what? The mask of humanity fall from Capitol. It has to take it off to kill everyone. Everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes, and then you know. What? That the Burguese are not human. You've lost your mind. Now is not the time, Lieutenant Yevafador. Lieutenant says gently. I had to fight it. I could not stop anymore. The old man falls silent. His black eyes keep piercing your skin as he looks to some great distance behind you, shaking his head slowly, retreating from it. This right here, this statement, the Burguese are not human, represents so much wrong with this person. Once you begin viewing people that don't belong to your tribe or train of thought as inhuman or monsters, you will do anything to them. I don't want to pontificate at all, but this is a serious problem we have today with the media trying to turn us against each other just for thinking differently. So disappointing. This also explains why he says this up here. Why he hates Capital, I suppose, so much and blames it all for their troubles. He believes it to be an actual demon. How have you survived all this time? How does anyone survive? He looks at his worn running shoes. I steal. Rhetoric. Now hold on there. That's a choice. You could have become self-employed. Create the system. You're insane and grotesque. Everyone steals. Vegetables, supplies. It's the life of a dog. He coughs once more, then puts his hand on his belly. How is your health, Mr. Dross? I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red like beetroot. Been passing in stool, too. He does seem frail, gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer. The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over. I need to die. A droll smile stretches across his mouth. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns. Electrochemistry. You also have Dramamine. We also have Dramamine. And other opiate-based painkillers. You must be in pain. A light goes on in his eyes. He smacks his dry lips. I have been running after that stuff. That's a bit low of me. I shouldn't do that. The game has a lot of text. A good amount of text. Although I believe that they've probably proofread it several times, it's still very easy to misspellings, grammatical errors. The good Lord knows that I can't speak a sentence, generally, without messing it up like I just did. So, I should not be one to mock someone else's speaking, or their text. Pain threshold. There's no way he could manage the pain without them. It's safe to say he's addicted to painkillers by now. You like that Dramamine, don't you? It's the little joys. A crooked smile appears on his face. A dark joke. A sunshiny day. Morphine. How have you coped? Mentally? I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of his eyes roll to his skull and back. I don't even know what. Inferno. You notice the lieutenant's about to say something. I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation. Nope! No! I said this last time as well. But I am super introverted. So apparently are you, Jason Hack, or Hake. I can't pronounce your last name there. But yeah, I am so super introverted. If I never had to see another living person again, it would be wonderful. It's amazing. If I could get all the food delivered to my house, incredible. I love it. I love it. I get so even when I'm hanging out with my best friends, I get so drained so quickly, and I need to get away and go back to being alone again. Where I need to sit alone in my room and read or play games or work on something. It's amazing. It's a real I don't know the word to use here. Shame is not appropriate, I think, but I'll use that word. But it's a real shame that this virus is causing this to happen, because I could totally work from home forever. With the job I do, I'm a software engineer, a programmer, basically. And aside from when I must be in the labs to do work there with other people, all my coding can be done from home, which I've been doing for the past 2 months now, since the virus is still present in our world at the moment. It probably will be permanently, but that's a different topic for a different day. In any case, I love it. I love it! I haven't had to be around groups of people in like almost, it's been 2 months and a week, and it's glorious. Oh, I love it so much. Traitors, it's better alone. He nods toward Martinez. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on, more and more each year. Ruins glimmering in the dark like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting. He looks down at his shoes, his face parched from the sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere. Empathy. Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on? Again, he wants everyone to continue to live the revolution. They, the people who were as ideologically driven as he was, were killed in the war by people, probably, at least some of them, most of them maybe, as ideologically driven, but with a different ideology. I have another serious question for you. There is nothing serious in this world. He looks at his gun in your hand. It's a farce. One more time. What have you used this gun for? What have I used it for? He looks us dead in the eye. I've used it for killing people. Half-Light, here we go. A trail of blood. The lieutenant smells it too. Killing people. It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family on your property? I haven't done that. See, I don't think this is an accurate... that using a gun to defend yourself when your life or family are in danger, I think is a good use of a weapon, especially if you're going to be killed. If some druggie breaks in your house, they're not going to... and they want you dead so they can take your stuff? A gun's a good deterrent. That's a good deterrent. And property as well. I guess if you make a living through selling things, having some defenses could be helpful so people try to take it. There was those riots back in the, when was it, 1990s? In California. I don't remember too much more. I don't want, unless I had a bunch of papers and documents and links to what occurred, I probably should stop here. But I heard that people on the rooftops ensured various shops were kept safe during that time. But what he probably means is that he's used the gun to murder people, not for self-defense or anything of the sort. He's actually aggressively used the gun to eliminate people he disagrees with politically, or what have you, or people he just dislikes, which is not something I can approve of. I've used it to kill people. Interesting. Lieutenant nods. During or after the war? There is no after the war. He shakes his head and smiles, his teeth rotten black. Class war is never over. Logic. So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. Rhetoric. Go straight in. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. Hand-eye coordination. No, be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Suggestion. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal. Wait. So which do I say to him? Nothing comes to you. Silence. His black eyes look at you. Shivers. And in them, a chill. Like electricity running up your spine. Crawling into your skull. What? All is not as it seems. If you watch the last part, you know you might have a hint as to what Shivers is talking about. The last part being meaning that the part I'm undoing. So, it's too late now to view that if this is your first time viewing this video. Detective? Lieutenant turns to you with a well-disguised impatience. Damn it, ask it already! He wants to say. I know you want to tell me. Have you killed anyone with that gun in the last week or two? I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer. And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time. So, you're saying you killed people after the fighting stopped? What did I just say? He keeps shaking his head, erratically suddenly. He brushes something out of his eye. Rhetoric. What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now. So, we did what Spirit the Corpse wants, and Suggestion mocked the Spirit the Corpse for that. Then we did what Suggestion wanted, and Rhetoric laughed at Suggestion. Did you use that gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor Krenel? The who now? He leans in and cups his ear. The fascist death squad who took a bullet in the mouth on the night of March 4th. Oh, yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy. Did you kill him? Lieutenant takes a sudden step towards him. I am the son of a welder, and an officer of the commune of Revachol. He spits a big one at the lieutenant's feet. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime. He's talking about us, so he's not going to help us. Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession, says Logic. Anti-coordination. The gun. The murder weapon is a perfect opener. Perception, smell. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember. Visual calculus. Something about the tracks? Suddenly all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first. I don't need your cooperation. I've got this. Show him the Triangong 446. Heh. Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there? It's a real gun. He points to your sidearm. Not like your little musketeer pistol. I've seen you prance around with that, jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons, huh? Going against automatic rifles with a flame bomb. Of course you got all those boys killed. Half-light, damn. He saw you. He's watched it happen. Visual calculus. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. Volition. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you. Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon. You know what? Lieutenant looks at the weapon demonstratively. You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon. Good. Lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line. This feels good, doesn't it? Tying things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer. Murder. The old man does not say more. He just glances into the reeds and then twitches once more. Technically, the murder weapon is just a tool. The killer was the person who fires it. What was that in you, UHF? Guns don't kill people. I do. Volition. Like a marionette on some invisible string. This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more. We've done the ballistics. The shot came from this island. I saw you poking around that tower, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascists. A jitter passes him. Do you like the view? You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. You've been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You clearly need medical aid. I'm ready to die. I've done my part. He's practically admitting to it. Just one more thing. The rifle does not have a scope. Where is the scope, Mr. Dross? How did you make the shot without a scope? We have everything else. Forget about your stupid fucking scope. I don't know where it is. Find it yourself. It's your problem now. Drama. He's lost it. He just doesn't know where it is. Forget it. Push on. It's the best uninterrupted line of sight into that window in all of Martinez. Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain. Another sudden twitch, and then one more in his right eye. Suggestion. Almost. He's almost he almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything. Come on, what am I forgetting? Hit yourself in the side of the head. Wait! Here it comes. The goddamn Maybells! The dried Maybells on Clage's roof. Oh, yeah! There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. And Maybells on Clage's balcony. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal footprints in the dust on the secret space behind Clage's bedroom. Now they're gonna come up, of course. Thank you, Head, thank you. You've got it. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul. Endurance. Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal. I wonder, what brand of boots are you wearing, Dross? Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa... He looks at his running shoes covered in mud. Some shit. Show me the soles, please, Mr. Dross. Fucking imbecile. The old man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of the worn-out old running shoes on his feet. The maker is called Centric. You can see the V-shaped logo, but can't make out the size. Visual calculus. These are not the unusual horizontal pattern soles you saw in the dust on the floor in the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size. Kim Katsuragi. The size fits, but not the sole. Drama. Easy. Maybe it's far simpler than that. We need, I think, a 5. 6. Simpler? No. This is another loose thread you will never connect. Goddamn footprints everywhere. I hate them. Lieutenant raises his brow. What are you doing? He's thinking. We almost got him here. Not now. Stop yourself. Cough. People change shoes, detective. He turns to the old man. It was you. You were there, weren't you? Crawling into whirling in rags. We passed that check last time. On screen, I failed. 2 videos ago, when we recorded this the first time, I put a point in drama. I'm not going to do that this time. He leans closer. What were you doing? Some kind of reconnaissance? Preparing the scene? Listening in on her? Trying to rack your brains? He squints at him, eyes gleam with hatred. You're desperate to report something back to your masters. You must have really loved that dead fuck. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire, silent suddenly. Some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance. Logic. You've almost got him. Just a last little push. So I failed this every single time so far. Let's try it again. Composure. For a 60-year-old man with stomach trouble who spent his entire life alone on an uninhabited island, he seems surprisingly fit. That's it. He clearly is a drug user of painkiller sort, prone to erratic hand gestures and malnourished, but that's it. The moment passes and you say... That's it for now, old man. Stay put. I ain't going anywhere. Let's look at what he gave us. Or what we took it from, I suppose. The Trigong 446. The bolt-action 4.46 caliber Trigong is a poor man's sniper rifle. While not the most reliable of firearms, it is relatively precise due to a very manageable recoil, thus allowing the shooter to take multiple consecutive shots fast. This particular piece is missing a scope, though. We're not rushing the Flak Tower ever. We still have to extract a confession from him. We gained another point to put in something, but at this point in the game, I'm going to quick save, and I'm going to describe what happened to me in the prior recordings, or a recording 2 recordings ago. Kinda hope this is making sense. So, at this point in the game, originally, I had not checked the cigarette butts in the mattress in the tower we were in earlier, thinking that it might actually reveal something. I cut the recording, went back there, started the recording, and looked at them. I then came back here with the knowledge that the sniper was a smoker, but there was nothing for me to talk to him about in that regard. Asking him if he smoked the whatever they were called, cigarettes, I missed that conversation earlier, and I did not think to ask him about himself again to get there. I then cut the recording a second time and looked around the island for anything I might have missed, but I found nothing else that I could use to convince him to tell us that he was a murderer. And then I decided to talk to him again and accuse him of doing this anyway, despite the fact that I did not have a 100% confession from him. Isolov Linovich Iosef Lilianovich Dross, you are under arrest for the murder of Ellis Cordiner. Is what you plan to say? Before you can get past you're under, the lieutenant interrupts you. Officer, are we sure? We could maybe get more. I remember going through all his conversation choices before and not finding anything. Yeah, see, so there's nothing new here. If I go back here, I go back to who are you? We just get the same conversation choices we had before. And back to all these questions that we've already asked. So as far as I can tell, there is nothing else that I can do. Like, I can't get any more proof. There's nothing on the island when I walked around and took a peek. Unless there's something, some tool here, or something I could interact with to tell me more. But I don't think there is. So I think we're done. Alright, so let's go ahead and... Oh, unless maybe the bullet? I didn't think to actually interact with that. Nope. I can't show it to him. Alright, let's go ahead then and just talk to him. Now we are done. Isovev Leoninovich Dross, you are under arrest for the murder of Ellis Cordiner. What? The old man's eyes filled with sudden, unexpected terror at the words. But you said I would be taken to the... The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation. Your wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand? But do you understand, sir? No, I don't want to. I have to stay here. He looks at the reeds, eyes submerged in growing terror. Perception. He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Electrochemistry. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker and blacker. Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now, onto the boat. So, the first time I recorded this, I passed, this perception check. I wanted to actually put clothes on so I could definitely guarantee that I would pass it, but I forgot. So, I'm going to put a point into perception. Maxing it. And we need an 8. If I fail this, I'm going to Alt F4 and come back and pass it. Something happens that I think we definitely want to see. And so, let's try this. Okay, I'll be back. There it is again, to your north, as it has been since you came to the coast. The reeds whisper, stalks rubbing against each other, but then, in the middle of it, something completely different. It sounds like a bow, very slowly being drawn against the strings of a violin, a very small violin made of reeds and rushes. And then it's gone, drowned out by the lieutenant's voice. Maybe there is room for 3 on the boat. Shh! Kim! Do you hear that? What? What are you talking about? Is this... The old man's voice drowns in a sudden gust of wind. Really us? Your skin crawls. A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence. You blink, and it's still there. An unfolding mechanism of reed-like chitin, hovering in place. What is that? The old man looks at the reeds and at you. What are you talking about? The giant stick insect! He looks confused. There's nothing there. The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. Half-light. You feel your leg shaking under you and your gun hand rise instinctively. There is! I see it! Tell me what you see, damn it! I can't make out one small thing in the reeds. Kim, can you see it? I can see it. 4 simple words. Thank God. If he can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender. Be very, very careful, Lieutenant whispers, then takes a step towards the giant arthropod. And everyone, we will stop here. When we come back, we'll inspect this arthropod, because this is the famed Inzalundian phasmid, the Revachol phasmid, what Lena was looking for with her husband. So I'll see you in the next one, everyone, and thanks for watching this.